Sure. So I've been a professor here since about 2010, and I study exercise programs and educational programs for older adults who have neurodegenerative disease, including Parkinson's, and also older adults who just started getting much older. I've done some studies with people who are considered to be oldest old adults, and I'm going to be starting a series of studies looking at people with prodromal Alzheimer's disease as well. Yeah, absolutely. And I've worked with several different populations that are kind of tough to recruit, actually, because they have all sorts of barriers to participating in research, because they may be basically unwell in terms of mobility or in terms of cognition, and so that's a challenge just to overcome, getting to a place to come to be part of research. And transportation is often an issue. A lot of people are not driving anymore, and so it's not a simple situation where we just get them from point A to point B. Someone has to pick them up and drive them somewhere, and so that can be a lot of barriers. Well, so just like any other clinical trial or efficacy of effectiveness of whatever, anytime you're trying to get a bunch of people into a study, you have to use all methods to try to find likely subjects, but you also want to make sure that you reach out to everyone, so everyone can be included as much as possible. And so just like any other trial, we use standard methods. So one method is by physician referral. So generally, most studies have a physician on the study as well as a co-investigator, and that is their study physician, and then you would hope that that individual would help with recruitment, and that certainly is one way I've gotten subjects, or rather participants is what we like to say. Other ways is by visiting support groups or educational meetings for these different populations. So if it's like low vision, I work with low vision populations. There's some organizations like the Foundation for Fighting Blindness, for example. You can go there and you can probably present information about your study to places where the participants are likely to be. So that could be support groups, educational meetings, all kinds of meetings. A lot of times, since I work with an older population, in the past I would go to visit senior living communities. And so I would contact their events coordinator or their director of activities or something, or perhaps the director of the place itself, the facility itself, and they would arrange for me to give a presentation about our research. And they actually liked that. That kind of was like a dual purpose thing, because they want interesting activities for their residents. And I also could tell people about the study, and that was one way that I got people as well. Word of mouth is also an excellent way to get participants. Registering your trial on sites like, for example, for Parkinson's disease, the Michael J. Fox Finder website is excellent. You put your trial up there, and so a lot of people have contacted me via that means. They often are not just in Atlanta, so that makes it difficult again, but that's been an effective way. And of course, clinicaltrials.gov is another way that folks can find out about your trial. So yeah, I think these are various ways. We also sometimes will put it into newsletters and email blasts from foundations as well, local foundations. So people have a lot of different reasons for wanting to participate in studies. Sometimes it's because they have a condition that they're not finding relief from their medications anymore. They're not finding relief from their medications or from their surgical interventions. Essentially, the traditional, standard of care medical procedures, which might mean the drugs or some sort of surgical procedure or some sort of therapy, is just not working for them anymore. And I find people like that are interested in trying out new therapies, which I do a lot of work in novel therapies, dance-based or exercise-based or education-based, different approaches to addressing motor and cognitive function. They feel like their options are limited, and so therefore they might want to participate. Other people are interested just because they just want to help. Mm-hmm. So they may have a loved one who has a condition that is difficult and we need more information about, so they're willing to participate. Other people are interested in participating in research because they've been contacted by an interesting researcher, and they enjoyed the research experience. I mean, there's literally people who could describe themselves as guinea pigs or lab rats, and they just go from one study to the next. I think people think that they're going to be giving forward to the next generation, so sometimes they think that they can help the people who are coming after them. So especially in the case of older adults, they know things can get better if we do the research process, and if by allowing themselves to be part of a research study, they know that that can help people in the future. And that's one of the, I think, a driving factor for a lot of older adults, because they think that that will matter, and that's one way that they want their legacy to continue. Some people may participate in research for the money,
Really?
depending on how much you're paying for a particular service. Okay. Sure, I don't know. I mean, I guess if there is another way, good. I mean, what's hard is getting the message to specific groups. So some groups are more or less likely to participate in research than others. So the Emory, previous Emory faculty members may be more likely to participate in research because they know about research, right? And after they're retired, maybe they're more willing to participate. Or facilities that are nearby Emory, like the Wesley Woods Towers, for example, might have, a group of participants that might be, or residents living there at the senior living community that might be just, ready to participate. But then there's groups that we're not getting to as much, people maybe living in Southwest Atlanta who are more underserved. We want to reach those individuals as well. Oh, my favorite part about being a researcher. I like having ideas, right? You can create ideas, and then you can study them, you can learn things about the world, and that's super important. I feel like the research that I do in particular is awesome because I get to work with some amazing people as well. I happen to do human research. And so I've had a very enriched life because of that, getting to meet with different people and learning their stories and seeing how research can impact them in particular. But for me, it's the creative process that I love more than anything. And the idea that, you can just get a kernel of your idea into like a paper or something and get those ideas propagated is really neat.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.